Touchdown! That's the all-time favorite word of every American football fan. Everyone has their favorite team, and mine just so happens to be America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm going to discuss today just a few things about them. I'm going to start with the history of the Dallas Cowboys, and then I'm going to move on to some of the most valuable players that the Cowboys have had, and then I'm going to talk about the future of the Cowboys and where they stand. Since the day I was born, I've been a die-hard Cowboys fan, and these are some of the reasons why. To begin, the Dallas Cowboys were founded in 1960, and they actually were not a full-on team. They only got to play every other team throughout. They were in the Western Division when they began, and their first game was against the Steelers, which they were ahead for a while until the Steelers came back and they lost 35-24. And then in 1961, just a year later, it changed over to the Eastern Division. Some of the coaches that made a huge impact, first one was obviously Tom Landry, up until 1988. So that's a pretty good chunk of time to be a coach. Then we had Jimmy Johnson from 1989 to 93, Barry Schweitzer up until 97. And then some of the other ones that were important are Wade Phillips from 07 to 10, and then Jason Garrett. He's been there since 2010, and he is currently still the head coach. A couple of the Super Bowl championships that they have won started in 1971, and then the next one was in 77, and then 92, 93, and then 95. So the 90s were a pretty good era for the Cowboys. Moving on to some of the most valuable players that the Cowboys have ever seen, there are quite a few, but just to name some of my personal favorites, to begin, Troy Aikman. He was the quarterback between 89 and 2000, and he will forever be my favorite Cowboy. Some of the other people that were very important were Michael Irvin. He was a wide receiver from 88 to 99. And then Tony Dorsett was a running back from 77 to 87. A couple of the other people, another one of my favorites is Emmitt Smith. He is a running back, or was, from 1990 to 2002. Roger Staubach was a quarterback from 69 to 79, and he's a pretty famous one as well. When you look at the future of the Cowboys and where they stand, they did pretty dang good last season. They did make it into the playoffs for the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, they did not go forth, but they did have some rookies playing. Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott are both rookies, and they were an incredible duo. So when it comes to this coming season in 2017, I think that they have a great chance. On bloggingtheboys.com, some of the biggest worries that they say they have is that they benefit to having one of the NFL's weaker schedules. Or they don't benefit, excuse me. It's one of their tougher situations is they do have a tough schedule coming up this year. It says right here, instead of the schedule makers giving them last place teams from the previous season, the Cowboys will get the teams playing Sunday for a spot in the Super Bowl, Green Bay and Atlanta. But some of the hopes that they have for this is, of course, Dak Prescott. He has been identified as the new quarterback for Cowboys over Tony Romo. Unfortunately, Romo has had some pretty bad injuries the past couple years, so it's kind of set him back. So hopefully Dak will bring us to a championship. So after going over the history of the Cowboys, some of the MVPs, and then some of the future about the team, you can kind of see why I'm passionate about football. It's good to be passionate about something, football being one of my passions, but what are you guys passionate about?
Football.